You know, the kind of news that arrives quietly, almost silently, but slowly starts to gain massive proportions. Well, something exactly like that is happening right now behind the scenes at Newcastle United. It's that strange atmosphere, with suspicious glances, phone calls at odd hours, and closed-door meetings. Anyone closely following the club's daily routine has already noticed that something big is going on, and trust me, we're not talking about just any movement. The information that started circulating in the last few hours could literally change the future of our team for the upcoming seasons. And look, if you're a true Newcastle fan, one of those who always wants to be on top of everything happening behind the scenes of our club, do this right now. Subscribe to the channel. This simple click makes a huge difference, so we can keep bringing you hot, reliable, and constantly updated information. And of course, it ensures you get all the news firsthand, without missing anything that could directly affect the future of Newcastle. So hit that subscribe button and let's go together. Back to the point. It's impossible to ignore what's been happening over the past few days. Anyone who has been paying close attention to what's going on behind the scenes at St. James Park noticed that the atmosphere, which had been calm after securing Champions League qualification, has completely shifted. Small hints started to appear, an agent spotted in town, some suspicious absences from internal commitments, and of course, that famous silence which, in football, often says more than any official statement. And when that happens, you can be sure something big is coming. And it's exactly in this atmosphere of mystery that a piece of information has surfaced, leaving many fans restless. Reliable sources like 442 and the Brazilian outlet ULA have started investigating intense movements involving one of the biggest names in our squad. Yes, my friends, what started as a simple market inquiry has now turned into something far more serious, with negotiations happening discreetly, intensively, and so far, without any official confirmation from the club. And believe me, the potential departure of one of Newcastle's pillars is no longer just speculation. That's right, it's time to be straight with you. According to reports from 442 and also confirmed by UL captain and idol Bruno Guimaraes is indeed involved in negotiations that could result in his departure from Newcastle United during this transfer window. And no, it's not just any club that's interested. The powerful Al Ittihad from Saudi Arabia has already started direct talks with the players' representatives to understand the conditions for a potential transfer. And it doesn't stop there. The reports suggest that Al Ittihad, owned by the Saudi Public Investment Fund, the same owners of Newcastle, has approached Bruno's agents to learn the terms of a possible deal. So far, there is no official offer on the table, but the mere fact that these talks are happening has already raised huge alarms behind the scenes at the club. After all, we're talking about one of the most valuable, influential, and undoubtedly most beloved players among the fans. And if you don't want to miss a single detail of this story, which could directly impact the future of our Newcastle, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're following everything closely, straight from the best sources, and you won't miss any updates. Turn on the notification bell as well, because this story could gain new and shocking chapters at any moment that will seriously shake the fan base. Now, let's give some context about Bruno Guimaraes' importance to the club. Since joining Newcastle shortly after the Saudis acquired the club, he has become not only a key player on the pitch but also an unquestionable leader of it. Bruno was the captain in all 38 matches of the last Premier League season, where Newcastle secured Champions League qualification once again. On top of that, he played a crucial role in helping the club win its first trophy in more than 70 years, with a flawless performance at Wembley against Liverpool. And if anyone still doubts the huge impact that a potential Bruno departure would have on the club, just look at the numbers and the international recognition he's received. Currently, the Brazilian is ranked among the top 4 best central midfielders in the world, according to the highly respected 442 magazine. He is also a key figure for the Brazilian national team, a guaranteed starter during the 2024 Copa America, and has already been capped 35 times since his debut in 2020. But the big question now is, does Bruno actually want to leave Newcastle? According to 442's investigations, the answer for now is no. The player is fully focused on the club's sporting project, especially after qualifying for the Champions League and, of course, after winning that historic title. Moreover, a move to Saudi Arabia could directly harm his chances of keeping his starting spot in the Brazilian national team ahead of the 2026 World Cup. In fact, Bruno has reportedly made it clear to his agents that he currently has no interest in leaving European football. His priority is to keep playing at the highest level, competing in the world's biggest tournaments, and staying sharp both for Newcastle and the Brazilian national team. 442 itself highlights recent examples like Bruno Fernandes and Victor Osimhen, who rejected massive offers to stay in Europe, and these decisions inspire Bruno as well. And here's a very important point. Despite Al Ittihad's interest and the initial talks, there is still no formal offer on the table. UL reinforces that the contact was more about understanding the figures and conditions needed to take Bruno away from St. James Park. And let me tell you, those numbers are not small. According to Transfermarkt, the player is currently valued at around 80 million euros, but it's pretty clear that Newcastle would only start negotiating for a fee close to 100 million euros. Also, let me remind you once again to subscribe to the channel, because we are tracking every single detail of this story. Any news, any development, you will hear it first, right here. So don't waste time, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and join us to follow every twist and turn of this saga, which, honestly, is far from over. On the other hand, there's one factor that could be decisive in stopping this transfer from happening: the player's own desire to remain competitive. Bruno knows that, while the Saudi League is growing, the technical level and global exposure of the Premier League and the Champions League are simply unmatched. And more than that, he understands that to keep his name strong for the Brazilian national team, he needs to constantly play at the highest level, against the best in the world. There's also the emotional side. Bruno has always been very open about his love for Newcastle, for the fans, and for the sporting project being developed at the club. He never hides how much he feels at home in the northeast of England, and how much he values the affection he receives daily from the supporters. That, without a doubt, weighs heavily when making any decision about his future. But as we all know, things in football change very quickly, and nobody can say for certain what's going to happen over the next few weeks. What is clear right now is that talks are happening. Al Ittihad is indeed interested, and Newcastle is monitoring everything very closely. The club's board has already made it clear that they will only consider selling Bruno if an absolutely irresistible offer comes in, something that makes sense both from a sporting and financial perspective. And that's exactly why you cannot, under any circumstances, miss the next updates. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, this is the moment. Join us to follow every single detail, every twist, and every behind-the-scenes moment of this story that's shaking the entire Newcastle fanbase. Here you'll get high-quality information, straight from the best sources like 442, ULL, and Transfermarkt, always with credibility and responsibility. To wrap it up, here's the summary. Yes, there's a real movement happening. Yes, Bruno Guimaraes is a target for Al Ittihad, who have already started talks to understand the conditions of a potential transfer. But for now, there's no official offer, and the player's desire is still to remain in European football, defending Newcastle United's colours and fighting for titles both domestically and internationally. This transfer window still has plenty of surprises to come, and of course you'll follow everything with us right here.